It's Paul's Picks with Paul Carey. I'm David Schellenberg. Hello, Paul.
Hello, David.
Paul, we've got a guest again today.
We do have a guest, Xavier Amirault from Domaine Amirault has come all the way from France to be with us, from the Loire Valley to be more specific. And he's going to guide us through a tasting of his different styles of wine that he produces out there.
Well, Xavier, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
And as we always say, there's nothing worse than looking at bottles of wine and not tasting them. So we'll talk about your winery, we'll talk about your Terre Noire and everything, but please pour us a bottle, pour us a drink and we'll get started.
Okay. Let's try. First of all, it's Pétillant Naturel called Pet Night.
Okay.
This is a Chenin Blanc.
Yeah.
Made in ancestral method. Huh?
Okay.
Okay. You want to give some explanation?
Yes, please. Well, first of all, welcome and thank you for coming and thank you for bringing bottles of wine and tell us what we're starting with.
Well, that's made with Chenin Blanc, which is the king of the white varietal in Loire Valley, in the heart of the Loire Valley.
Right.
My winery is located in between Anjou province and Touraine province.
Okay.
And just in the middle of the two, so the Touraine is known for the red Cap Franc, and Anjou more the Chenin Blanc.
Yes.
And we do Crémant de Loire, but also Pétillant Naturel.
It's cloudy.
It's cloudy, it's normal because it's the process is made with no filtration to compare to the classic champagne method, which is totally under control. Here we let the white yeast to do the job.
Yes.
I can explain a little bit the process.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, but first let's ask Paul. Paul, what do you get under the nose? What do you get when you taste it? This is very different than anything we've ever tried.
Yeah. I mean, Chenin Blanc is just a phenomenal grape, and the people in Loire do fantastic things with it. Everything from the sweetest dessert wines right to everything in between, right up to sparkling. So it's a very, very versatile grape, not unlike Riesling. It's got the same sort of possibilities, good acidity, good sugar levels, et cetera, et cetera. Excuse me. On the nose, apple and pear.
There's a meat of some sort that
It's wet wool.
Wet wool.
Wet wool a bit, yeah.
That's an official tasting note.
And
wet
hay,
wool.
or straw a little bit as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
yes, I know what you're saying. Yeah.
On the palate, perfectly balanced. So the acidity and the effervescent in the wine is matched perfectly. I find it light to medium bodied, which would make it fantastic for multiple food pairings. And the finish is in balance. It's persistent. It's nice. Fantastic. I love it. Fantastic product.
All right, Xavier, tell us about the process to make this wine.
Yeah, the process is to compare to the
I think I need a little more to sample while you're
Yeah, go ahead. Traditional method or champagne method, which is the same way.
Yes.
Those champagne method or traditional, you know where you go because once you get crush your white grapes, you get the most, okay, and you launch the fermentation. And in this case, when the fermentation going with white yeast, when we go down to 17 to 19 grams of sugar residual, we cool it down a little bit to slow down the fermentation.
Okay.
Just time to bottle it, because we cannot bottle when it's fermenting.
No.
So we slow down the fermentation, we bottle it, and we put a cap on it. Okay? And then we lay down the bottle and we put in a warmer room, and the fermentation is starting again.
Yeah.
And the 19 gram left keep going and create the sparkles, the carbonic gas from the natural sugar. So to compare to the traditional method where you go...
The traditional champagne?
Yeah, champagne, for instance.
Yeah.
You make your blend of dry, finished, still white
Yes.
wine, and you add, sugar and yeast. And you know exactly where you want to go. It's totally under control.
Right.
In this process, you have to trust your wine.
It's not under control. It's
not
crazy
under
wine.
control. It's crazy. It's alive.
That's
It's
good. That's good for
Alive
Dave.
wine. But it's fun. So,
It's
obviously,
fun.
it's getting more and more popular, this type of wine. It used to be the first, from a long time ago, processed. It's...
This is older than champagne, like before.
I think so, yeah, because it's the easiest, the more classic process. The champagne process is more, very precise. But this one, you put a juice and you lock and you let fermenting, and a few days, a month later, you open it and you taste it, and you like or you don't like it.
Wow.
On our case, we'll try to make it right and to like it each time. But no, what I want to say is, usually this process gives you more on the fruit. You hit the fruits, as you said, pear or apple. When you open, you're getting pear a little bit after, and sometimes peach.
Yes.
It has a white flower aroma. That's totally Chenin Blanc. But it lacks, if you bite in a fruit, it's type of sparkling.
Wow.
To compare to champagne or crémant, where it's more the wine world. I would say it's a more precise wine. Here is in between fruit juice, fermented, and wine. And I think it's a very interesting experience because each time you open a bottle, you're going to get a new experience. From a bottle to another bottle, you can have a slight difference.
Yes.
Because the live yeast, you don't know who are there. Sometimes the yeast go quicker on this bottle than this one. Maybe this one, he has 1 gram left of sugar, and this one has 2 grams left. And you have to...
Every bottle is different.
Every bottle, yeah. You can have some difference, you know. And from a vintage to another vintage, you can have some bigger difference.
So from year to a different year, yes?
Well, for instance, the one we have today is totally dry because he decided to be dry.
So what year is this one?
That is this one is 2021.
Okay.
But the one we just produced in 2023, 2 months ago, now he decided to stop 1 week ago at 8 grams. And you cannot do anything. Well, you can open it and restart it and blah, 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 but, nothing is not anymore. You won't trust it. And if he stopped with 8 grams this year, it's because the wine found this own balance. And when you taste the 8 gram, this vintage, you said, wow, it's fruitier, it's sweeter, but it's good, it's balanced because it has enough acidity. So, I will say Pétillant Naturel made it that way. We will make never a big branded things, industrial wine because you cannot control it. You have to accept it. And when you
have to accept it.
When you customer, you are open to get what I'm getting today. Oh, I like this way. It's a way of natural wine, I will say, idea. And it's fun because it's always a great surprise, and we don't have bad bottle, and just a new reason to share and discuss about the wine and say what you found about it. And
So how many are you unique in this kind of wine, or is it very common in France?
No, it's pretty common, and not only in France, and now a little bit worldwide. The natural wine in general is growing.
Yes.
Pétillant Naturel also is getting more and more popular. I think maybe younger crowd, bars and some wine bars like to show that. But Pétillant Naturel exists since, I don't know the story, but since very long time. But since 10, 15 years now, Pétillant Naturel comes in a rosé. We have also a rosé Cabernet Franc Pétillant Naturel. But you can have an orange Pétillant Naturel, which is fun too. White grape maceration Pétillant Naturel. And So it's, I would say it's more artistic than something.
Fantastic. What local dishes would you pair, or what would be a good wine and food pairing, or wine and cheese pairing with this?
Well, you know, today, this, I think by itself, it works perfectly for us.
Yeah,
You
I
don't
agree,
need
yeah.
to have, is round enough and well balanced. But obviously cheese, you know, cheese is a good match for most of the wine initially, but it works well. But I'd like some, you know, I would say some shellfish with spicier type of, you can handle the spice with this type. You know, his body is enough, and the acidity is high enough to match some spicy food, maybe Asian type of food or seafood. That's what I'm getting now.
Yeah.
Tomorrow we will be watching.
All right, we've got some empty glasses and some full bottles. So what's the
Okay.
next wine we're going to try?
Yeah, well, you have, you know, first of all, you know, all that is from my winery, but you have the classic line existing since, you know, I'm the 6th generation, so since 200 years,
Wow.
you know. But this one coming from 3 kilometers away where we have a farm since 3 generations.
Yes.
And I have a red also called La Ferme des Fontaines Cabernet Franc, 2021. It's everything is organic and biodynamic certified, Demeter. And this one on top of that has a certification of we call Vin Méthode Nature. It's the only certification for natural wine, meaning that we respect some chart. The chart, for instance, says, it's a small chart but it said the grapes has to be organic first. Biodynamic is better, but at least organic.
Yeah.
Grapes have to be handpicked. Okay. And then after the vinification process, you cannot add in nothing. No chemical, no physical. That means nothing, no sulfite at all in it. You could have a little bit of sulfite, natural sulfite, it's a process coming from the fermentation, but nothing you add in.
Right.
And no filtration. So this one is a St-Nicolas-Des-Bourgueil, the little village where I'm coming, and Cabernet Franc, maceration of 3 days, okay? After 3 days, we crush the most, and we keep going. We finish that way to make that wine a little bit softer, super, very fruity, less tannin, easy to drink.
Tannins,
you know?
yes.
Yeah.
Yep.
So is what we're going to test now.
Okay. Now you talked about the history of your wine, of your winery. So how long has your family been on this bit of land?
Well, the Amirault family is in Bourgueil area since very long time, 500 years old and maybe more.
500 years.
Oh, yeah. We have some Canadian Amirauts too. 1500 they came here. So, but anyway, and then we are from Bourgueil area. But after Revolution,
The French Revolution? Yeah.
After the French Revolution,
Yes.
early 1800, Bourgueil was split with different small village, and St-Nicolas-Des-Bourgueil was created.
Okay.
And Clos des Quarterons, which is the place where on the label, the beautiful place, was the first city hall and school from a little village of 1,000 people. So really, I said, 6th generation was 200 years ago, but we were already in the wine in Loire Valley, where am I?
Yeah.
At least 1,000 and maybe year, we already produced.
On the same...
On this area.
This.
But let's say we start in 200 years ago, 6th generation, that's where we come.
Well, I hope you got it right. Paul, what do you get on the nose, and what do you get when you taste this one?
A lot of very clean, vibrant fruit. Raspberry, red currant, cherry. Wow, it's really nicely balanced on the palate again. It's not there's not too much tannin, so it's not astringent. It's actually quite round, and the finish is very smooth, very persistent.
It gets sweeter.
Yeah.
You know, my
Very-
first sip,
Yeah.
when I sipped it, it wasn't very sweet, but as it sits,
And
it's sweet.
I
It's
think
sweeter.
one thing for people to know too is Cabernet Franc has gotten a bad reputation in some areas of the world for being too herbaceous or too, people find it vegetal or green peppery because of underripe wine practices. This is not that at all.
No.
This is a very fruit balanced wine that's really, wow, great acidity too.
Yeah.
Really nice acidity. Wow. Love it.
And I find this with a lot of old world wines. You know, here you're visiting us here in Canada in the New World, but this very much has an old world taste to it.
Well, the Cab Franc has a strong personality. I would say it's, you know, as you said, what the green things that we used to have, or we have sometime, but it's not the perfect, is because it's not ripe enough, and that we call the pyrazine, which is the name of the molecule. But when you handpicked on the right time, and it get very well ripe, that same molecule become spicy, mint, eucalyptus.
Mint.
Mint, sometimes you get the mint. Maybe, you know, the wine, you have to let it open and smell it again, and the nose is
Yeah, I'll
going
give
to
you mint.
change,
I'll
yeah.
give you mint.
Eucalyptus, tobacco, English tobacco, the sweet tobacco. You go through lots of delicate aromas of spice and flowers. And it's, you know, this one is not just a round and fruity and sip, he has personality. And when it's there, you know, it's very creative to make food pairing and say, wow, I got that. I can imagine I can get that from that. And something important in this wine, Cab Franc and natural wine, sometimes some got good and bad experience. Sometimes the bad experience, you know, I like natural wine when it's very straight and very elegant.
Yes.
And sometimes I'm sure all you get natural wine with gas, carbonic gas, and you have to put to decompress and to put in a carafe and have to drink it in a couple of hours because it's going to turn bad to get just the perfect.
I don't think we're sophisticated enough for that.
Yeah, if you go, you know, anywhere in the world, and I'm sure in Toronto, there are some.
In Toronto, yes. We're not in Toronto.
Yeah, no, in Ontario, sorry, but we're going.
No, I'm saying in Toronto they're more sophisticated than us here.
No, but in Ottawa too.
Yes.
But sure, I didn't get time to visit yet. Maybe tonight.
Maybe.
But I won't say here. This one is a 2021, so he has got age. He was aged on the fine lees in a concrete vat for at least 12 months. So we let the wine be to grow, to get, you know, strong enough before to bottle it and to send it to the trade. And that's so important because that way the wine, you can open it tonight.
Yeah.
You test it tomorrow, it's going to be new aroma. And the day after, for sure, is going to be a new aromas without turning oxidized or something.
Because that's just decanting it, yes.
Well,
and old world wines do that, where the taste will change dramatically.
Imagine this one has no sulfate at all.
Yes.
No protecting, nothing at all to protecting. So sometimes when you think natural wine, it's pure, it's good, but you have to bite it right away when it's open because it's good. No, not always. And here Cab Franc, and especially red wine and Cab Franc, I advise the people to, you know, open a bottle of Friday night,
Friday night.
and drink a couple of glasses on Saturday, and you can keep drinking in a Sunday.
Yes.
And people said, hey, I need more bottles. I said, open 2 or 3 different bottles on Friday night. But
You're a good salesman, yes.
Well,
Yeah, I need to sell you 3 bottles.
I want people to experience the wine and don't drink too quickly. I think, and you know that, the best tasting, you can do the wine, and as you open the wine, you smell, you taste, you let it. You come back 2 hours later, you taste. The day after and the day after. and maybe the day after. And, you know, and here you can say you write each time what you get. Not a speed testing is never good. You cannot slow testing to make a good understanding of what's going on, to get all the aromas the best. And I think those type of wine, natural wine, it's wonderful.
Right.
You really getting something, a full paysage, you know, you see the rocks there.
Yeah.
I'd like to invite you all over there to come to see my countryside, but we test the place.
Yes.
You test the place, you know. My estate is not a big estate, it's 38 hectares, which is a normal size, I would say. We have 58 plots, different. And we have 12 type of soil. I didn't bring everything.
Yes, you brought some
Between
rocks.
Clay, between the clay, green clay, silex, limestone, we got gravels, deep gravels.
Yeah.
We got ironstone. We got, and on the 58 plots, we do 40 to 45 single cuvée of Cabernet Franc
Right.
a year. Either way because the age of the vines, young, mid-age, and old, or because because the type of soil. And believe me or not, but everything is Cap Franc.
Yes.
Everything comes from the same village, surrounding by maybe 1 kilometer around my estates.
Yes.
And you're going to get 40 to 45 different experience.
So all you grow is Cab Franc. That's the only grape.
Well,
but because
for the reds, yes.
But because the soil is so different, it tastes completely different.
It tastes different. So obviously at the end, after 18 months when we start to sell the first bottle of the vintage,
Yes.
we don't have 45 wines to show to the people. But during 18 months, we taste the gravel, blind eyes with my brother and my teams, and blind eyes, and we bring the gravels together, say, number 2 and number 5, that's good. Can you imagine it? Like, okay, let's put it in a foudre. Let's put it in amphoras. Let's put it in concrete eggs. If you come to us, you will see we have plenty of different content between concrete, oak, and different size and form of amphoras.
Yes.
And every year the itinerary is totally different. Is what we get at right time, you know, maybe after 3 months, you said, well, we got it today.
Yeah.
And at the end, 18 months after, you finish with 10 finished wine from 45. And that's the most fascinating part, I think, of winemaker job.
Yes.
And we test the place.
I think a lot of people will be surprised to know that you use concrete as a type of tank to put your wine in. We all always assume it's in wooden barrels of some sort, but why are you using concrete?
Well, concrete, the vat in concrete I have is my grandpa. They have more than 80-year-old concrete. So it's not a new one just existing.
Yeah.
We use concrete since very long time. But for us, they use that since more than 1,000 years.
Oh, yes, really?
Mostly. We just came back on maybe 15 years ago, we started to say, oh, it's a marketing thing.
Yeah.
Today, you know, I'm personally experiencing amphoras since now 8 years. It's really interesting because you don't bring any add-on taste, as could be.
Concrete doesn't add taste at all.
The concrete doesn't bring taste and amphoras at all.
Okay.
And you can choose the amphoras you want. For instance, you have the highly cooked amphoras with very low transfer oxygen.
Yeah.
And you have the one with low cook, not very highly cooked, under 1,000 degrees.
Yeah.
And the transfer is big, as a clay pot, you know, for your flower. And you decide. You said when you test your wine, your raw wine, you say, this one I want age it with oxygen or not. And you choose the amphora you want.
So if you want oxygen, then you would put it in a...
You want oxygen, you put on the type of clay pot, very good transfer.
Yes.
Minimum is 18 months, but we age some are 24 up to 30 months. And also you can choose the amphoras from, if you want to run as a bowl, you know. And it's important because you're going to bring fat to your wine. The way
What? Fat?
Fat, the gras, the fat, the bodier. because the skin
Fat? Is that the word you use?
Heavier, like a fuller body.
Okay.
Yeah.
the lees getting, I'm missing my French.
It's okay.
Yeah, I know. Well, that's what Paul's job is to translate for us.
Non, la lie, tu sais, les protéines. You get protein.
Yeah,
And when you do bâtonnage for the white, you get more fat body. Well, when you have your content is round, okay? The water pressure push up and down your wine, and your wine is moving in this bowl and getting from the lees contact, a type of protein, making your wine richer, okay? So sometimes you want it, sometimes you don't want, because you say, oh, my wine is rich enough. So you have amphoras more as a tube, and you can imagine when you get the pressure of the water, is raining, is sunny, the pressure is moving up, and make a move in your amphora. If it's the tube, the flow goes slower, and you get less least contact. So, well, anyway, it's empiric. You learn by doing it, and those amphora are as barrels, handcraft. From a barrel, from the same barrel maker, from one barrel to another one barrel from the same barrel maker, they're not going to have the same taste.
No.
And the amphoras is the same. So when you know what you got in your cave as a content, and when taste in your cave, and when we taste the wine, well, it's really the cave, because we are lucky enough to have a huge cave like that. I don't know if you can see it, but where we have more than 3 hectares underground in the hill, in the limestone, where we have all the amphoras, the barrels there. It's a normal temperature control. Okay. It's 13 degrees Celsius. I'm not sure about Fahrenheit.
Yes. No. Celsius is us. Yes.
Yeah. Year round, and humidity is around 85 humidity, which is a perfect temperature, and you get that controlled temperature for free.
Right. For free.
Yeah. and so once you get all that in your head, vintage after vintage, and you taste your new fresh juice, you said, I can see where I want to lay my wine. Where if I was this wine, I will be in this type of content, and and you see what I mean?
That's what makes these styles of wine so much fun, because it's the passion and what's going to happen in the vintage. So the wines are going to taste different, whereas wines that are mass produced, they almost stick to a certain formula that they do every year, so that the wines are always coming out tasting exactly the same. Where here, as you were mentioning, if you did a vertical tasting of, say, 10 years of different Cabernet Franc from the same area, you're tasting different things every time. The wine's evolving at different stages every single time. So every time, as you said, every time you go back into the bottle or you go back into the glass, you're experiencing something different from the one that you just tried previously. So,
all right, what's the third bottle we're trying?
Okay, so we go to the classic line. Well, this one, the name is Les Quarterons, St-Nicolas-Des-Bourgueil as well. Cabernet Franc is a 2020. This one is interesting because this one is a main cuvée. The cuvée is a little bit of type of soil. When you taste Les Quarterons, you taste the vintage. You said, oh, what about this year, the new vintage, 2020? Taste it. It's going, without going up to the place, to the rock, to the specific one. And that is a good entry point to the Cabernet Franc, without to go too far, to the soil, And I think that is an interesting, 2020.
Now, we've been talking to a few people, a few different winemakers over the past couple of months. And one question that's been coming up, and I'm going to ask you the same question. Do you find that with the climate change, the things that are going on in the world today, climate-wise, that you've had to adjust things in your vineyard, or your vineyards, I should say?
Well, I shouldn't say that, but as we were talking earlier, we said, you know, we used to know the Cabernet Franc a few years ago, 10, 20 years ago, used to be green and green pepper. Well, thanks to the climate change, we get warmer and we get
Riper
better
wines.
than, and the alcohol content is not too high enough. So I think, no, but it's not a good news, obviously,
No.
about the climate change,
But it's reality. That's what's happening.
Reality.
Yeah.
And but we still, Loire Valley is still a region, wine region where we're not under pressure of the climate change than to compare to the south of France, where it's getting very hot and the drought and everything. But we, you know, more and more winery in France are getting organic and biodynamic. The more people, the more winemaker and the customer ask for those wines as well, and more people want to promote those, test those wines. So the winemaker and the growers are taking a great care of the vineyards. So the canopy now are higher, okay, to project the shadow to other. That is one of the techniques. Yeah, that's very important. We keep grass as long as possible, natural grass in our vineyard to keep the freshness under it, as you know. Trees.
Amongst the grapes, so you're leaving grass
on the
growing.
soil to protect the soil from the sun, the heat, you know. So all those small techniques, which is basic, but help us to stay away from too much change, too quicker. So far in Loire Valley, you know, we can see the change, but we are not too much into the less than some other region, more southern region where it's more difficult. Yeah.
And you've got the benefit of the ocean. You've got the benefit of the Loire River.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, you know, we are 47 degrees north. You know, it's a little bit higher than here, I think.
Yeah, I think I was just thinking that. You're northern, more north than we are.
Yesterday.
Yes, we do.
No, we don't get
We might have snow at any moment. Yeah.
But you know, thanks to the Gulf Stream, you know, moving up to Europe, it go to the mouth of the Loire Valley, the Loire River, and it go to. This is why it's temperate. Anjou, Touraine is a great place for living because it's never too hot, never too cold. People retired like to come in.
People who retire.
You like to come there because it's very, you know, you're never worried about the weather.
It's consistent.
And it's consistent.
Yeah.
We can grow almost everything, but not banana. But you
Not
know,
bananas. Okay.
No, I said we call it the garden of France because we have fruit and vegetable. Just to give you an idea of, you know, it's still sweet and quiet enough to grow everything we want. And that is, we won't keep that way a long time, but, you know, time the pump of the Gulf Stream will pump
Some heat?
some heat to the Europe, it would be good.
Yes, yes. All right, I drank this one way too fast, so I need to pour myself another one. Now, this is very different than the last one. Paul, what do you get on this one?
I find it fuller. I find it fuller in style in the palate too. It's rounder. Did it say wood? Was there any? No. Wow. What did you do to the wine to make it? Because it even seems almost creamy. There's a real roundness.
There's a heat.
Yeah.
Like not a jalapeno, but a chili or a...
Lots of blueberries and very floral.
Now, we're not tasting the same vintage. The first one was 2021.
Right.
2021, the first one was more classic Loire style.
Okay.
Crisp, softer, you know. Here, it's a global warming change. 17 was as 2021, classic Loire style, crisp, clean, young, delicate. 18, 19, and 20, those three vintage was pretty high, pretty hot.
Higher alcohol?
Not much in alcohol, but a little bit, half point, but still, you know, it's...
It was a hot summer.
Yeah, it's, you know, 12 and a half.
Yeah, well,
you know, it's still good.
Yeah.
But
Still good.
It's still, yeah, well, time we stay below 13, you know, say everything. But, you know, you get more fruit. But you're missing, this one is, I said, oh, you get the fruit. But you're missing that hint of freshness that you get in a 21 or 2017. So I think it's more commercial, vintage, I will say, than the other are more specific.
Yes.
And that's Loire Valley. Every vintage, you have to test it and discover what you get this year, you know? Don't wait to have vintage after vintage as we talk, you know? And especially in natural wine, you're not going to have the same wine every year.
No.
You say, this year is like that. Last year was like that. We have always a story with something to share together about the wine, about the new vintage, and that's, and it's interesting because tonight you're going to test 2021, 2020, and then 2019. Are three different vintage.
Okay.
Right. So, and again, all the same grape,
Yeah.
all grown within a kilometer of each other.
Same village, 1 kilometer surrounding my place. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they're all very different from very
Yeah.
different years.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about being organic, are you finding you're kind of going back to old techniques, like techniques that you would have used 100, 200 years ago for the grapes, or are you discovering new things?
No. About vinification, you're talking, huh?
Well, when you're talking about growing grass between,
Well, yeah, no.
is this something that you would have done 200 years ago that
Yeah,
you're
well,
returning to?
They used to do that by because there are no chemical at that
No.
time, and it was horsepower and manpower. So
Yes.
at one point, when you get too much grass, you said, stop it, you know.
I'm gonna go have a glass of wine. Somebody else can mow that.
Exactly, and then after, you know the story, we got the chemical, and today, obviously, we are coming back on something I will call more reasonable, respectful
Yes.
to the earth, but we have techniques and tools, tractors with automatic and hydraulic, and where makes the job of the winemaker or the growers easier than used to be my grandpa with the the techniques, but without using any chemicals. So I don't want to say it's easy, but we're not coming back, but we are coming back, but with a new techniques, the new meaning. The people of today, you know that, are not able to walk as we used to walk. I guess our grandparents, 60 or 80 years ago, they are, more. We are taking care about people. So, you have to respect, the health and the people, and
Right.
we're not strong as we used to be. So, and that way, we look forward, but we've taking a look on the back and said, don't be crazy, respect your soil, respect the place, respect the fruits, and the wine. Again, if you don't bring anything into the wine, trust it, it will give you a good wine.
Right.
The most complicated to make those type of wine is to not stress, to trust it, and the most difficult is to do nothing. And sometimes you taste your wine and said, it's on phases where, it's not right. Said, don't touch, do nothing, trust it. And then a couple of weeks later said, wow, remember a couple of weeks ago, this wine was totally closed, it was blah, blah. Just it wasn't the right time. As you and I are, or your pets, are not a good day, and you just don't bother them, don't bother me, just tomorrow will be better. I think wine is the same way.
Right.
Don't put the wine in the, if you don't like it today, just leave it and taste it again.
Taste it tomorrow.
And it will be fantastic.
Yep.
Okay. All right, big finish. What's the fourth wine you've brought us?
Les Gravilices. Les Gravilices, donc St-Nicolas-Des-Bourgueil, Cabernet Franc, 2019. And les Gravilices is the name of the soil, a type of soil as we have here, is a very deep gravels. Those type of rocks and the black one over there. Yeah. That is on the terrace. We have a vein of deep gravels, 10 meter deep of compressed gravels, which is very draining soil, poor soil.
Poor soil.
Which is good.
Vineyard perform on the poor soil. They don't want, the vines has to suffer to give good fruits, and not too much water, not too much rain.
No.
Rain, you can have the rain, but the roots don't want to be seated on the water too much time. So draining is good. Rocks is good because it's warmer and it can get early picked.
Yep.
And this one, les Gravilices come from this type of soil, and it's classic vinification, hand-picked, classic vinification, 3 weeks maceration, and then we age it minimum 16 months in a foudra,
Yep.
minimum, in a big foudra, in an oak foudra, and then after we bottle it, and we age it in a bottle for another 6 months before to send it to the customer.
Okay. Because we've heard this about grapes in the past. Like you have rough years where you don't get a large yield, you don't get a lot of grapes, but the grapes that you get have more flavor in them because the grapes had to suffer because they didn't have a lot of rain.
Yeah.
Can he use that glass there?
Well, either one.
I pour you. That's yours? I don't, that's yours. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that one's yours.
Okay.
I'll probably pour more for myself again because these are going down very fast. Yeah, it says put it close to me. That's very good.
What Xavier's talking about is it's what they call vine stress management.
Right.
And what happens is certain grape varieties, not all, like for example, if you have Merlot likes a more forgiving soil, like clay, for example, because it retains more water. Cabernet Franc, these styles, Cabernet Sauvignon, those type of wine, Syrah, same thing, they like the gravelly soil because what happens is it forces the root of the vine to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the soil to find nutrients, to find water,
Right.
consequently bringing up even more terroir that goes back into the grape, and that's where you get the fruitiness, you get the body,
more
the
taste.
tannin. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's the key. You're right. You know, the wine is vegetal water. It's made with.
Vegetable water.
Yeah. Well, you know, the water comes from the soil, as you said, by the roots.
Yes.
Loaded with oligo elements. So deeper you go your roots, richer, more complex is going to be the water.
Right.
Loaded with oligo elements and going to give the taste to the wine. And that is very important that your roots plunge as deep as possible.
Yeah. Paul, what do you get on this one?
Wow. It's quite fruit forward, but again,
It's gotten fruitier.
Yeah, blueberry, lots of blueberry. I find
Cherry.
still floral,
Yeah.
like violet.
Yeah. Considering this is the same grape grown, in one field over. It's a very different experience.
Yeah.
Flinty. It's got flinty or a minerality quality to it.
Right.
I haven't tasted it yet.
Yeah.
I'm going to do that right now.
Xavier, how do you describe this one?
Well, yeah, I think it's a good description. When you taste wine from gravels, usually it's silky. It's something, it's sweet, but not the sweetness from the sugar because it's totally dry.
Right.
It's sweet by the touch, the feeling it caresses your palate. I don't know the caress.
caresses your
it's
palate.
round,
Yeah.
And they make as a round ball very polished, and more you get age on those wine, deeper and more complexity you go to the middle of the bowl. It's really a great terroir.
Yes.
It's the opposite of the limestone and clay that we have on top of the hill. It's night and day. We have 2 crus in my estate. I didn't bring them tonight. I will do that later. But we have 2 crus called one Le Fondi, which is a top gravel, all vines made with vinification integral techniques, and it's really round and deep and unbelievable. And the other one is where is a cave above it. Is made with 1 plot of clay and 1 plot of limestone just next door, but not harvest on the same time. So we make the vinification and that age in amphoras and make the wine very, very precise. The attack on your back of the limestone, bring there, totally different than the one where you got the other one. Is nourished with clay, the meat palette, and finish again with limestone, precise. It's night and day. Flying bird, it's 500 meters between the one on the hill and the one on the terrace, on the Fondy and Le Vornu. It's the best experience you could have on one varietal 500 meters away. At that, you taste the place. You taste the place. That's a, you know, it's that's what makes me the most passionate about wine, because you talk about Cabernet Franc, but the Cabernet Franc helps to bring to taste the place. It's it's the best varietal for where we are, but it's just not the finality. The finality you want to taste here, and nobody can steal it. It's there in St-Nicolas-Des-Bourgueil, that place. You know, Burgundy, when you talk about climate, in Pinot Noir is the same way. It's a, you know, you test different climate and different place.
Yeah, absolutely.
And to do that, you have to be careful in the vinification. Don't go too crazy soft and to extract and to get this empiric experience, to not go too far on extraction. And same way, when you age your wine, you have to choose the right content. Not to make a big oaky barrel from just soft enough to support the wine. Who chose your concrete vat, who your amphora, just to express totally the place. And that is a long time. You can learn from, you know,
past
experience.
years, and tell us a bit about when it is harvest season. Like, how do you know when to harvest the grapes? And we've heard you actually, people sleep over at the winery when it becomes at the vineyards when it becomes time to harvest.
Oh yeah, well, it's a very stress and exciting moment. You know, you work out all the year round, and from a 20 people team, you know, you become 80 people in the house, and exciting, and you know, and especially Cab Franc has a short window to handpick. Before it's green, it's going to be green. Usually it's 2 or 3 days windows to pick it.
Days.
You can, if you before the 3 days, it's going to be green, and if you after, it's going to be unbalanced, jammy, not interesting. You're missing the elegancy. So when you have 58 plots on different type of soil, and you have 3 winemaking, hand-picking team, you have to send them right on time on the best time. So you have it's exciting, but it's lots of stress because you know you won't get it. If you have as this year beautiful sunny 2 weeks, that's good. But if you see the bad weather because it's early October coming, it's cooler morning and everything, you said, can I wait, or should I pick up now, or should I wait next week? Or, you know, the decision. Sometimes you make it right, sometimes you missed it. It's yeah, but it's so good. After you're so tired,
So what? You hire a whole bunch of people and just have them sit in your barns and be ready to pick at any moment?
Yeah, and it's not easy to motivate a big team of harvesters because you just hire them for a couple of weeks. You don't know them, most of them.
You don't know them.
Yeah, you know, but you know, you have to go in a. People are so important in a wine. What I was talking. You know, when you want harvest by hand today is not as easy as used to be. You know, 30 or 20 years ago. You know, people were used to work hard, and you know, today, you know, it's complicated. You need the money, and so to motivate your team to make a good job and to make less stressful and enjoyable, it's the management of the people is part of the winemakers' teams to make sure they get good experience and you get the best of them, and. So yes, it's stressful, but it's a good stress. But believe me, after the harvest, you're totally
you're ready to go.
You're totally you know, and then after now I'm coming back.
Yeah.
And seeing you, it's good.
It's good. Yes. No, and I'm going to say Paul, I think that's a good place to end. And any other final thoughts, Paul?
It's just fantastic, great stories. You really bring a human perspective to the wine, to your wines. You can see how passionate you are about it. I thought they were all fantastic. They really were just excellent wines. For people that would think Cabernet Franc is a certain way, you've got to try these, because
They're all completely different.
a lot of the New World wines do not stand up to what the wines that we just tasted are. And Mel, thank you so much.
Well, thank you to you too.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you for coming all the way to Ontario, to the snow.
Yeah. Well, I love it. It's good for me.
You
And
can bring it back to the Loire
Yes.
with you, please.
I wish we can have a very cold winter. It's what we are missing.
Okay.
When you were talking about climate change, I think what it's missing, it's changing, is the cold winter where the savor can stop and start again a new cycle. And so I can bring back a little bit of your snow and the
We can
cold
bring a
winter.
snowman, yes.
Yeah, and you win, and after you will come to see me in springtime, and you all invited to come to
Yes.
visit Loire.
Oh yeah, we'll bring the whole crew. All these guys want to come to France to see.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you very much for coming to join us. Thank
Thank
you,
you.
Paul.
Thank you.
I'm David Schellenberg. This has been Paul's Picks.